G'day guys, how are we going? And welcome to the second Guitar Zero to Hero Premium Q&A. Now, I know a lot of you guys can't make it, so this will probably be a short one. A, there's not too many people who can make it live at the moment, and B, I didn't get too many questions over the month, but that's fine. Yeah, I just want to remind you guys, it's a really good opportunity if you do have any problems to send them in during the month, and then I can answer them here as best as I can. And of course, I'll be sending out a link in an email for this replay after it's finished. So I hope you enjoyed that first fingerstyle tutorial. There'll be one every single month, and it's a really good way to get stuck into fingerstyle tutorials because they're typically very hard to play, but I tried to arrange them so it's basic enough for beginners to get into, but hard enough to sound really great, I guess. So the fingerstyle tutorial I'll be doing this month will be Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. It's an absolute classic. It's quite a simple one, but it sounds amazing, so be sure to check that out. Also, I hit 100,000 subscribers over the last week, so I'm so pumped about that. Really happy with how everything is going. Alrighty, so let's start answering some questions. Now, the first one I got was from Nina, and her question was, one thing that I'm struggling with is timing when I play songs. I use my metronome all the time. Good girl, metronome is very important. But timing is still an issue. I find it easier if I know what the timing is for the song, but I'm unable to figure that out on my own. So I'm assuming by timing you mean the BPM, like how fast it is. Well, yeah, there's two ways I'll show you how to find the timing out. The first way is the more musical way, and it's using a tool called Tap Tempo. So this is a really simple tool. This is what I use to get the BPMs of all these songs. So you just need to type in tap, I don't know if you can see that, tempo into Google, and it'll be the first result that shows up. And if you have a song, any song that you hear, there'll be a beat to it, right? And you can generally tap, you tap your foot along to the beat of the song. So that's what you want to be doing with this website. You're just tapping the space bar as the song plays, and it'll average out the taps and it'll give you an average BPM for the song. So I'll use an example here. So I'll pull up, this is Kids by MGMT, really, straightforward song. It's got a simple drum beat to it. So yeah, if you heard this song, at a concert, you'd tap along to it like this, right? So it's important to try to get that into your head. Some people aren't quite born with rhythm. Sometimes you have to kind of develop it, but listen to the drum beat. That one's very simple because the drum beat's just like, and you can easily tap to that. So with tap tempo, what we're doing is just tapping along, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so now that I've done that, I can see that the nearest whole beat is 123. So 123 is my BPM for that song. And as I always suggest, when you're learning songs, you should try to practice them slowly first and then build your way up. So when you get your metronome, 123 is going to be the full speed for the song, but let's practice it at a slower speed. So we'll go to 100, let's say. So now this is our beat. that we're going to practice to. And if we had the chords for this song, it's... Notice how I sort of started off with like a really simple strumming pattern, just like down, down, one on every single beat, and then I just sort of try to make it expanded on that. I added the down up to give it a little more feel. So that's slower, and then you can work your way up to 123, and which is the speed of the real song. So yeah, that's one way of finding the timing or BPM of a song. Another easier way, which is kind of cheating because it doesn't really help you understand how those BPMs are coming about. But a cheat way is just going to a website called Karaoke Version. Now I'll link all of this in the description for this video for you guys to find. But all right, Karaoke Version, it's an amazing website to find backing tracks, like karaoke tracks. If you just want to sing along to a track, you can get all the instrumentals here. You just need to pay a small fee, but yeah, you can get guitar backing tracks as well. So tracks where the guitar's left out and you can jam along. But finding the BPM on this is free. All right, so let's go to Shape of You, which is a massive hit. You go into the song and right there up the top, bam, original tempo 96 BPM. So instantly it just gives you the timing for any song you want, and most songs will be on Karaoke Version. And then you can just dial it into your metronome, slow it down if you want to practice it, and then speed it up. Yeah. Cool. So I hope that answers your question, Nina. If you have any more questions regarding that, then please feel free to hit me up on that. Cool. So I have a question from Andre. Let me see if there's anyone here. All right, so a question from Andre, and he says, how can I know the strumming pattern of the song without watching any tutorials? Only listening to the song. So the thing is with coming up with strumming patterns is that it comes with practice. I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear. I will be making a module about this because I do think it's important. And a lot of beginners do ask about this. I can help you out here, but I will need to figure out a way to better teach you and describe my method, and that'll probably be best if I create a module. It's a bit harder for me to just explain it on the spot without annotations and down ups on the screen to help you. But it really depends on every song, and that's why you need to learn a lot of songs. That's probably the biggest key, is to learn lots of different songs, because then you start gaining knowledge, you start understanding very common strumming patterns, and then when you learn a new song, you're like, oh, this strumming pattern will fit to it because it's got a similar feel to something I've learnt in the past. So yeah, well, hang on one sec, guys. Just want to double check that this live stream is okay and I'm being heard. Give me one sec, sorry. Standing very common strumming pattern. Yep, cool. All right, audio's fine. Ignore that. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying, learning lots of songs, because it depends on the song. Sometimes the timing will be really fast, so some strumming patterns won't work. Sometimes the song will be stripped back, so you need to like be use palm muting or more simplified strumming patterns. So yeah, I will try to make a module regarding that and how you can come up with strumming patterns. But my best tip for the moment is to learn as many songs as you can. And this is what I did when I was learning when I was younger. I came across the same thing. Like I would use the same strumming patterns over and over, and it would sound a bit boring, but as I learnt more and more songs, I started gaining more feel and a better understanding of what works. Sorry. So if you're learning a new song and you don't know the strumming pattern, I would just start with simple down strums on the beat, just like that MGMT song that I just played before, like 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Really simple. But then once you're okay with that, then you can add, down ups and make it a bit more complicated. And then you can add rests, so down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, etc., etc. Cool. So your second question was, I don't know how to organize myself when I start practicing. Sorry, I need to sneeze. Give me a sec. Alright, I don't know where to start. I have a lot of songs to learn. I'm exercising with scales and I want to practice a lot of things, but I don't have time. Can you suggest me how I should organize my time practicing with the guitar? I usually play around 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day is really good. Keep that up and you're going to be really good. I like to hear that. You're practicing a lot, so it's awesome. Now, in terms of practicing effectively, you don't want to be learning too many things, okay? You don't want to be jamming too many things in your head, because then you're not mastering anything. You're just dabbling and learning bits and pieces here and there. So my advice is to make sure you completely master something before you move on to learning something else. Now, in your 2 hour session, it's good. You should start by warming up your fingers and playing scales and that sort of thing, but don't spend too much time on scales, I don't think. At the start, when you're learning guitar, I think scales and all that sort of theory stuff is important, definitely, but not as important as getting more of an understanding for music and jamming along, actually playing songs. So I would start your session, yes, by playing some scales and exercises just to warm up your fingers, and then perhaps after that you can review what you've learnt previously and pick up where you left off. Like, let's say you learnt a song yesterday, you'll play it again just to recap, and then you can spend the next part of the hour learning a new song, and then trying to perfect that. There's no best answer, but what I can say is really important. Sorry, I'm a bit sniffly. What's really important is that you take breaks in between. So if you're practicing for 2 hours, you want to take at least 3 breaks. There's a study on learning psychology. I think it's called recency and primacy, which says that if you're learning something in that session, you'll only remember the stuff that you did at the start and at the end of that session. Everything in the middle, you'll kind of forget. So that's why it's important to have short learning sessions. So like a 20-minute, 30-minute period, because then you'll be able to remember more of the start and finish of that. Take a break, take 5 minutes, have a drink, stretch, and then get back into it, because that will keep you fresh and you'll take in a lot more if you do that. So yeah, that's really important to take breaks whilst you're practicing, and yeah, really just try to master songs before you move on. I think if you learn something and you think it's not quite right, it doesn't sound great, keep at it, keep practicing until you get it right. You have a lot of time. There's no rush when learning guitar. I know there's a lot of songs you want to learn, but it's more important that you learn them well and not just breeze through them and play them badly. So there's that. So thanks for that question, Andre. I appreciate it. Now I encourage everyone. I've had one student send me in her videos of her playing, and got me to tell her what she was doing wrong or what she could improve on. So I would encourage anyone who wants to do that, you're more than welcome to send in your videos, and I will help you out and give you some tips and feedback if you like. Now, one last thing, two more things I want to just touch on. I had this question, and it's this applies more to fingerpicking songs. So let's say, say You Won't Let Go by James Arthur. So it's this chord in particular, the E minor. I got asked this question a lot. People were saying, if I'm not playing the 5th and 4th strings, if I'm not plucking them, then why do I need to push them down? Which is a good question, because technically this is all I'm playing. So why do I need to push my fingers down on that E minor if I'm not playing those strings? And the reason why is because it's good habit to play the actual chord. It acts almost like insurance. If you happen to hit the wrong strings, like the 5th and the 4th strings, then it's still gonna sound okay. Whereas if you didn't have your fingers on that and you happen to hit the wrong strings, it would sound bad. So here's the difference with the chord and that's hitting the wrong strings as well. I'm not plucking the right strings. But without the chord, it sounds terrible. So it ensures that the chordal backing is still there, and even if you hit the wrong notes, it's still going to sound in key. Super, super important. And it applies for everything, really. Like, if you understand what the chords are in the back, then you can make up the finger picking. I could make up a different version of Say You Won't Let Go. I was just messing about there, but I was playing the same chords, but I was just plucking completely different strings, but it still sounded nice. And that's because I'm playing the chords. If I didn't have my fingers pushed down because I didn't technically need to, then it would sound terrible. So that's arpeggiating for you. That's where you're playing the individual notes of a chord one at a time, as opposed to strumming them all. And lastly, I just want to talk about hammer-on pull-offs. I had this question previously. Someone asked, what's a good way of practicing hammer-ons and pull-offs. Now, a good way is obviously to learn some solos, but here's a really, really easy exercise that you can use. So take the 6th string, let's put our index finger on the 3rd fret. Now, you'll need to only pluck this once, and then hammer on and pull off with your middle finger. So practice that a couple of times. Now what you want to try to do is to hit it once and keep hammering on and pulling off. Now the secret to the pull off is that you want to pluck your finger down, like you're pulling it down, almost acting as if it was a thumb pulling the string down, if you understand what I mean. So you're pulling it off by pushing it down and then flicking your finger off. And the hammer on, that's pretty straightforward. You just need to come down on the string or the fret very quickly and strongly, don't know if that's a word, to get that nice sound. But just practice that, see how long you can keep it going, and then use your other fingers as well. So hit the 3rd fret and then hammer on with your ring finger and keep going, and then do the same with your pinky finger. It gets a little harder with the pinky finger, but if you keep practicing that, you'll develop your hammer-ons and pull-offs a lot better. And then you can do the individual fingers and alternate between them. And that's pretty much what I think it's how you play it. Yeah, Thunderstruck. Notice how I only plucked that once. Yeah. You get the idea. I haven't played that song in ages, but it's all hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's just about getting that hammer-on really nice, and technically you could keep going on and on forever and not have to actually pluck the string. Cool. So that is the last thing that I wanted to address on this Q&A. Keep up the good work, guys. Again, if you've got any questions, then please let me know. And I will be updating with some fingerstyle tutorials this month. The Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis Presley. It's an absolute classic. It's the #1 tab, or the #1 song on Ultimate Guitar at the moment, and it has been for so long. So it's a really good song, and it'll be really good for you guys to play in fingerstyle, and really enjoyable. So thanks, guys. I will see you next month. Cheers.